right. What's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I had to make a Instagram post. We are doing a Family of Light ticket giveaway on Instagram and Facebook. So the links for that are down below. But basically, how it's going to work is you on Instagram, you just like the Family of Light Instagram page, and then tag us in a post. And then on Facebook, join the Family of Light group, and then tag us in a post there as well. And by us, I mean the group or the Family of Light page. And then you'll be entered for the giveaway. And we will be announcing that sometime in the next week. So, yes, what's up, everybody? Hey, Tyler. Let's get, where's the chat? There we go. Tyler, Schumann Being, Smokey. What's up, guys? Yeah, I'll touch on that again a little bit later, but topics today, we're going to be talking about hybrid programs, human hybrid programs, and this new show on Netflix, Sweet Tooth, and the kind of disclosure and also maybe projected timelines that are going on in that show. 17 people on the stream, that's a good number. So human hybrids, starseeds as well, in relation to that, how these hybrids in this show are kind of representative of starseeds. We're going to talk about that. And a little bit about Flare Finance, the crypto network, and XDC joining Flare Finance and what that means on the crypto side of things. And then space weather and what the MSM has been saying for the past couple days about a big space weather event and how it pertains to a 17 post, a 3-year delta on a 17 post on the same day or the day before regarding a false flag weather event. So yes. Will this live be saved? Yes, it will, unless they decide for whatever reason they're gonna knock me out, but it should be on there. And speaking of that, please like my backup page, my page with Alexis, Divine Sovereign Beings YouTube. I forgot to put it down in the link below, but I'll add that in later, or maybe someone can drop it in the chat. But that's our backup page in case this one goes down, because I have 2 out of 3 strikes on this account. So Total Recall, yeah, that as well. I was going to touch on that. Thank you, Tyler. Tyler recommended watching the original and the new one, but I watched the original Total Recall last night with Schwarzenegger, and oh my God, it blew my mind. It was actually way better than I anticipated. Like, I knew there was going to be disclosure in it, but it actually had, as you know, you probably know if you've seen it, quite a bit of twists. And yeah, so we'll talk about that too. But yeah, happy Sunday, everyone. I am doing the show today because yesterday was just really, it was just a weird day. Both Alexis and I woke up really late, like 11:30, and we were both feeling just so heavy and dense. And it was also, there were blackouts, not quite blackouts, lack of data on the space weather charts. So at least on the Russian graph, from what Alexis told me, they were not updating the data, which is kind of significant of perhaps a large event happening that they wouldn't want the data being out there for, or even a technical malfunction. Who knows? But the fact that there was lack of data on the same day that we were feeling this really intense density yesterday morning. And then I talked with a couple people. And what's up, Angelito? Talked with a couple people on my Telegram group, which if you're not in the Telegram, definitely recommend joining the Telegram. Hey, Galactivation, good to see you. Hey, Joyful Diamonds. The Telegram is called Cosmic Origins Channel, and then there's Cosmic Origins Chat as well. And I'll update the description after this video with those links too. And yeah, a couple other people were saying the same thing. Woke up really dense yesterday morning, dense energy, weird dreams. Yeah, and I had an Elon Musk dream for the first time, actually, that I'm excited to share, because, you know, I think it was last week or the week before I was talking about Elon Musk and dreams, and a couple people were sharing their dreams and the vibration of the dreams, you know, the energy behind it, because of course Elon is a very highly disputed figure. We talk about that a lot here, kind of share both points of view, and so I'm excited to share that dream. And then last night I had dreams after watching Total Recall too. I'm getting a lot of recall, you might say, from program type stuff. And so yeah, one more time for those joining now, we're going to be having a Family of Light ticket giveaway. So the Great Family of Light Gathering is an event that we're hosting here in Sedona, Arizona with some of our closest friends and Star family. Tyler's in the chat right now from Journey to Truth. He's going to be there. Kate Awakening is going to be there. Troy Casey, the Certified Health Nut. Rion and Alexander from Sedona. Troy's also from Sedona. Alara from 1 Foot in 5D. As I said, Journey to Truth. Zen God, Zach from Zen God. Really excited for him because this is, I think, kind of a new, these kind of conferences are going to be a new thing for the crypto group, and it'll be interesting to bring together like the Star family that we've been bringing together in the disclosure scene and kind of bring that with the Star family in the crypto scene. And, you know, all that kind of disclosure and energy of the new earth being birthed is what we're trying to bring to this gathering. And it's called the Family of Light Gathering because it's what it is. It's our family of light. It's our returning back to these, you know, larger than life connections that we have with these souls. And that's really what we're trying to drive home with this event, like that soul connection and reestablishing that and remembering people from beyond this lifetime, remembering our cosmic origins, you know. So yeah, ticket giveaway for that. There's also many more speakers too. You can check that out, familyoflight.info. Thank you, Ambi, for posting that. And then the ticket giveaway is going to be on Instagram and Facebook. You basically just follow each of the pages. You can do one or the other, or if you want a double entry, you can do both Facebook and Instagram, and you'll be entered twice. So for Instagram, like the page, tag us in a post with the flyer that I just posted on my personal Instagram, and I believe Alexis is posting on that Instagram right now. And then same on Facebook, join the group and tag us in a post, and you'll be entered to win. And also, if you already have bought a ticket and you're part of that, or say, you know, you want to buy a ticket now, but you're like, oh, maybe I should wait for the contest, we will refund you if you win the contest. So I really want to make that point because we really do need to sell a few more tickets to pay the venue to really get this thing going. So it is really the time right now. I ask you guys, if you have been called to this conference and you've been waiting to buy a ticket, this week is really the time to do it because we got to pay the venue, and just got to make that happen. So I really call on you guys for all your help with that, and I'm so excited for everyone that is already confirmed. People are buying their Airbnbs and their hotels, they're camping. There's all sorts of like different accommodations available that people are doing. Some people are going to be straight up camping, some people RV camping, like I said, other people Airbnb, so it's going to be really fun. And yeah, on that, let's jump into the show. Welcome everyone. Who else is here? Angelito, Margaret, Ambi. Ambi says, I will be out of town, but I'll purchase the online tickets. I can't wait. Yep, so there's a live stream available as well for those of you that can't make it out to Sedona. But for those of you that can, it's really, really a magical place here. And the rocks are ready. We've been getting that message. The beings here are ready for this gathering. And yeah, man, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. I keep hearing Ascension Party. Like, that's what we're making it. There's going to be, I think, really big events that happen between now and then, potentially, or maybe around that time period, that I feel like we're really going to be in the mood to party, in the spirit of partying, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Cheshire. Cheshire will be there doing her Cheshire herbals and a sound healing as well. Shout out to Cheshire. And hey, Leaf. Hey, Harry. All right, 33, magic number, right? That's the number of people here right now. I kept seeing 33s after we were talking about that last week, like continuously. 33, 33. Russell Brand, who shared the same birthday as me, has a new thing called 33, and he's got a 33 tattooed on his wrist, which is a, you know, some people might think that's connected to negative Masonic type things. Could have been at one point, but I actually get good vibes from him now. I think that he is working on Team Light. But that's a side note. So let's go ahead and talk about the human hybrids and the show and everything with that. Angelito says, do we need to worry about snakes out there? You know what's crazy is I had a dream the night before last of a dead black snake. And I looked it up, and dead snakes are about like, you know, rebirth and like moving on to a new phase of life, and also potentially like, you know, getting rid of like a demon or that kind of thing that maybe has been negatively affecting you, those sort of things. And I also had a prophetic dream come true the same day. So to have that, and then the black snake in particular was representative of like a financial rebirth and a moving on into a new joyous state of life. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, Cheshire says no worries about snakes. They keep to themselves. Yeah, I've never actually seen a snake here in Sedona. I've heard one, never seen one. And we're going to be in a nice air-conditioned venue, the Sedona Creative Life Center. You can look it up. The link for the website, you can see it down below. Beautiful air-conditioned. You have a great view of the Red Rocks, but you're not like in the dirt, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. But you know, if you want to go hiking too, it'll be a great opportunity too. We'll be hot though, so that's why the AC is good. We have a nice air-conditioned big room. All right, human hybrids. So this kind of started when Tyler from Journey to Truth, he made a post on Instagram talking about, or it was a screenshot of a article, I believe, from The Guardian, and it was a physical newspaper, which maybe it wasn't The Guardian, because I don't know if they do physical newspapers, but it's a physical newspaper, and it said basically like human hybrids popping up all around the US, mysterious cases of half owl humans, half, you know, deer humans, half whatever humans. And it took me by surprise, because I was like, wait, what is going on? Like, is this real? Like, this is actually in a newspaper? What's going on here? And then realized that in tiny print, it says advertisement, right? So this was an ad that they did for this new show on Netflix called Sweet Tooth. And I had seen that the show existed, but I didn't have any idea that it had to do with like human hybrids and things like that. Now, of course, this instantly, maybe not of course, for me at least, this instantly took me back to Atlantean times and the kind of chimera human hybrids that they were genetically engineering back in Atlantis, which a lot of you are probably familiar with. There were a lot of, let's just say, like unethical experiments where we were playing God in ways that we shouldn't have, much like we are recreating now, but more extreme back then, or at least, you know, now they do a good job of hiding it if it is as extreme as it was back then. Clayton says, I saw it in the break room at my job, blew my mind. Nice, yeah. So I checked it out. Alexis and I watched, she actually watched it before me, and she's like, Jace, you have to see the intro scene to this show. And so I watched it, and it was pretty freaky. So I'm not gonna do any major spoilers, but the intro scene is basically essentially what I would say the Dark wanted to create with this virus, right? So like the timeline that they actually wanted to happen, which was complete global meltdown, social collapse, economic collapse, all that stuff. And they really depicted it in a very visual way that is pretty jarring. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, maybe don't necessarily watch it. It is a very jarring show in many ways, but there were positive aspects of it that I'm going to talk about as you get through it. But that first scene is pretty like intense. But it's also a form of disclosure, because I think it's showing us what they wanted, and it's showing the average person what could have been. But if you're in a victim state of mind, you might fall into, you know, like not people here, but other people may still fall into that trap of, oh, this is what could happen, you know. The show is called Sweet Tooth, for those that are asking. It's on Netflix. It's called Sweet Tooth. And someone said, Good Vibration says, do we think med beds are coming soon? I'm not gonna comment on like time periods, but I do feel that that is in our future. I don't know how long, but I do feel that's in our future. So the other thing with this show is that the virus essentially inadvertently At least this is how they pitch it so far. I haven't finished the series, but they pitch it as the virus created these human hybrids, or in even broader context, these human baby hybrids started popping up around the time of the virus, and they were half animal, half human. And that's like what this newspaper article was saying, and they were trying to make it look real in a way that was an advertisement, right? But it's disclosure. And so part of it is connected to that Atlantean stuff, but also in the show, against what I assumed they would be saying, they weren't genetic experiments. They were nature adapting to what was going on the planet, is the way they put it. And without spoiling anything, as you get further on, it kind of starts to become reminiscent of the wave of starseeds that are coming in on the planet, and that these hybrids are symbolic of the new wave of indigo children, crystal children, rainbow children, as some might call them, the new wave of heightened vibration, heightened energetic beings that have been born on the planet starting, you know, a couple decades ago and really increasing right now. Like a lot of the, I would say the majority of the children being born now are these, in real life, are these crystal children or starseeds, or whatever term resonates with you. But they're here to shift the vibration, just as we are, but they're coming in with an even more potent energy. And the way that this show was written, it very much is symbolic of that. And of course, the dark forces on the planet are doing everything they can to get rid of the new children that are coming in, and the light, the wave of light. And there are people who are trying to protect these children, and then these dark groups are coming after them in very militarized ways, because it's kind of like martial law. And on top of that, I really want to explain it more, but I don't want to spoil it. There are adrenochrome disclosures in the show, in terms of harvesting the energy from these beings for the dark. So I'm not 100% certain on if, you know, the energy behind the show is one of the light or of the dark. I see everything as kind of a duality and a polarity, and you can see both in everything. And I honestly think that that's probably more so what it is. It's, at least on the higher realms, I feel that the show is doing a form of good, but perhaps it was created by the dark, but having that effect inadvertently, if you know what I mean. So, very fascinating show. Again, it's called Sweet Tooth, and it's on Netflix. I think there's like 8 episodes. So, along with that, let's see, is there anything else with that show? Starseeds. Yeah, without spoiling too much, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more like next week when a couple people have watched it, so that I don't spoil it for the people that want to see it. So then Total Recall, kind of to throw that in there, for those of you that haven't seen Total Recall, the original Schwarzenegger one, that was totally about real black budget space programs that exist off planet and have since, you know, World War II, at least. And many of us are already familiar with these programs. What was interesting with the show is that it was pitched to be in the future, so that they have this sort of plausible deniability, right? So that's what they do with a lot of these disclosure films, the ones that were created several decades ago. They were created to be very, very similar to the truth, but without completely being the truth, because there needs to be plausible deniability. And it's also created so that, for instance, with, you know, using this as an example, Total Recall, you know, he wakes up to the fact that he was a super soldier on Mars, basically, and was put on Earth, mind wiped, blah, blah, blah. So when the image that I got was that this was intentionally created by the groups who were actually doing this. Even the name in the show, Cohagen, is very kind of similar to another name we hear, Kruger, from a lot of these black budget program survivors, SSP survivors, which Journey to Truth, check out their channel. They've done tons of amazing interviews with SSP. I don't want to say the full word because I feel like that's like a trigger word for the algorithms now, but we'll say black budget space program survivors. They've done a lot of interviews with those kind of people, so check out Journey to Truth. But essentially, these are created to be a scapegoat for the attention when people are waking up. So say a real space program, black budget space program survivor starts getting his memories back in dreams, just like in the movie. Well, then he starts telling his buddies, starts telling his family, starts telling, you know, whatever, and or she, and they're like, oh, well, you just got that subconsciously from Total Recall or from, you know, whatever movie or whatever TV show, Stargate or Star Trek. You just got that subconsciously, is what they would try to say. What's up, Isaiah? Good to see you, man. So it's a way to prevent, it's a way, just like in the movie, it's a way for them to make these people awakening to their memories doubt their sanity, which is exactly what they do in the movie. They repeatedly make him doubt his sanity and question what is real. And when we start losing a grip on what is real is when, you know, we become ungrounded and we lose ourselves. So that was really fascinating, and I was really blown away by that. And now I'm gonna watch the newer one to see if they snuck in any more disclosure into the new Total Recall movie. So yeah, and on top of that, I personally have been getting, over the past week, with these various energetic shifts, whatever's going on with the sun, space weather, I've been getting a lot of memory recall too. And maybe this is a good time to talk about the Elon Musk dream. So, well, as far as memory recall, before Elon Musk, I'll tell you guys the dream I had last night. So I had a dream that I had a dream that I was in a, I guess loosely we'll just say program, because I don't know what it was. I was with a couple of other kids, teenagers, and we were put in front of these screens, and it was some kind of test. They were trying to test us for something. And these screens were displaying images that would flash every couple seconds, like they would change every couple seconds, so you couldn't really focus on what it was or get the image for too long. And then there were numbers. There was like some kind of combination of numbers and letters, and what they wanted was they wanted you to do a calculation to receive some kind of number at the end. But it was really frustrating because I'm looking at these screens and they're flashing like every 2 seconds or whatever, and I can't even focus long enough to like add the numbers. And I remember like asking all these questions, and they're just like sitting there smiling. Like there was like women. It was like these very, honestly, positive vibration women. It wasn't it didn't feel dark, but you never know with these things. But they wouldn't tell me what to do. They wouldn't give me really any other instructions other than that I needed to give them a number at the end. And then in the dream as well, there were other children doing this in the same room, and everyone had their own screen and their own private like mentor or woman. And then, at least in where I was, they were women. And then there was this kind of technology machine in the corner too, which I can only really describe as kind of had the shape of a round barbecue. Like it was like on a stand, and it had kind of a bulbous top to it, and it kind of was about that size, but it was like something, it also looked like something maybe like an incubator you'd put a baby in. Like it was kind of a bubble with a hollow interior, normal materials, probably like, I don't know, plastic, metal, whatever. But it did something that I don't totally understand. It like made my transmission with what I was observing totally private. So it like, I guess it was to prevent people from picking up on the other screens in the room or the audio that was coming from them, but it did some kind of thing with the energy, and it was like translating it to something only my ears could hear and no one else could hear, or something like that. So I don't know, I say this because maybe this will trigger some kind of memory or dream or something in you guys. I don't know. Have you guys experienced anything like that? Like being in front of screens, being tested with like calculations and numbers, but they don't give you much to work with. They don't really tell you much about what to do. So anyway, that was my dream last night. Did you feel that? Yeah, this is the Schumann shirt. This was maybe Schumann bot on Twitter, but I don't think he's active anymore. But we sell Schumann resonant shirts on our Teespring, which Again, I didn't I didn't put it in the bio because when I do these lives on my phone, I have to enter the bios manually. So yeah, Teespring, I'll throw that in the, or if anyone knows it, you can drop it in the chat, but I'll throw that in the description afterward too. You can buy our Schumann Resonance shirts. Ambi says, oh wait, before Ambi, Mystic says, long story short, my cat ran away a month ago. I live in a big city. I was devastated, but I kept the faith that he'd return to me. I found him on the day of the eclipse. Wow. Wow. Ambi says, I had a huge pineal gland activation during the lunar eclipse, but seemed to be shut down since the solar eclipse. Maybe just processing. I don't know, but the energies are crazy mad right now. Yep. Yeah, they are intense. So the Elon Musk dream I had was literally during the eclipse. So this is pretty exciting because like a couple weeks ago we were talking about Elon Musk and dreams, and I was like, I've never had an Elon Musk dream, but I'm excited for when I do to get a better idea of his vibration. Like I want to know him, and I already feel like I know him, but I want to get validation of that energetically. So this dream, I'm pretty sure I literally had during the eclipse window. It was definitely that night, but I believe that it was around that same few hour period because I remember waking up and falling back asleep and then having the dream, and it was very lucid. And I personally, I can tell the difference between dreams that are subconscious and manifestations of the subconscious and the way they're playing out, because those dreams are very symbolic. They're very dreamy, like I don't know, like if you've ever taken MDMA or MDA, that kind of like dreamy, like the subconscious dreams are like that. And the other dreams are like, they're like watching a movie. They're very clear. They're like memories. They're lucid. And they're very different. So in this dream, hey, what's up, Mike P? Nikita T? Unicorn? We are one. You think Elon's an ET? No. I mean, maybe on a soul, but I think he's a human. So in this dream, preluding the Elon part, I was part of an operation that essentially saved a DUM, a deep underground military base. There we were working in the base, and I remember the shape of it. It was very long. It was like a cylinder underground, and in one side of the base there was like a nuke that was part of the base. It was like built into the base, I assume, as like a defense mechanism in case it ever was compromised. And I remember the shape of the base had this, like, it was split in the middle. So it was like, you know, this part was underground, a cylinder, and then it was split down the middle. And the bomb was like underground on the one side of it. And I remember that some people in the base, it felt like they had sabotaged, or they were like spies or something like that. And they had broken, I don't know if they broke into the base or if they worked there and they were just like double agents, but they had essentially rigged, they were moving this thing that I think they were just saying they were moving it for whatever reasons, but it was essentially like a big piece of metal. I don't know what it was, but it was very large, and they were like lifting it up the one side and they were going to drop it on the other side, and the kinetic impact was going to explode the bomb. And me and my team were able to stop it right before they dropped it. It was going to be like a pin dropping on, like, I don't know, a bunch of explosives, kind of that kind of imagery. But it was a physical object, large metal object, and they were going to drop it. And we managed to stop it at that apex right before we dropped it. And then I remember we were like partying. We were like in a normal house, and it was like me and a bunch of people I know, and we were just like having a house party, which I haven't done in like a long time. We weren't like drinking or anything, but we were just like, I don't know, we were just partying. And then all of a sudden I was in a spaceship with Elon Musk, and I was looking at it. I don't know if it was me in the ship or if it was someone else, but I was looking at them from the perspective of the windshield. And it was like a small, like, I don't know, 2 to 4 person craft. And Elon was piloting it, and he was just like cracking jokes and was just like super funny and was in like really good spirits. And I remember like taking that memory, and in the dream I showed it to Alexis, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, what kind of vibes you get? And she's like, oh yeah, I approve, that's good vibes. And because that's kind of what we do in real life anyway, like when we're assessing people in you know, celebrities or influential people, when we're trying to feel out their intentions and their vibe, we'll compare like that. And it was like I did that telepathically in the dream. And so, yeah, Elon in a spaceship was basically it. And that was pretty much, that's all I remember. There was more to it, but that's all that I really retained when I woke up. But it was like a positive vibe. And he was a younger, skinnier version of himself. He was like, looked like he was maybe in his 30s or something. But healthier than he looked when he actually was in his 30s, I guess. So I guess I met Astral Elon. It was pretty trippy. And the fact that it was on the lunar eclipse, I was just like, whoa, how symbolic. Oh, thank you, Ambi, divinesovereignbeings.com. Yes, you can get our t-shirts there. I forgot that the Teespring was connected there, silly me. Yeah, if you want a Schumann t-shirt, not this exact kind because we didn't make this one, but if you want a similar one, you can get them from our website, divinesovereignbeings.com. What's up, Joel? Good to see you, brother. Joel will be playing his double didgeridoos at the Family of Light gathering. So he's like the only person I know that can play 2 didgeridoos at the same time. And he's going to give us a ceremony at the event. Shout out to Joel. And another good time to say, since there's more people on here now, we're doing a ticket giveaway for the Family of Light gathering, which is the conference/gathering that we're having here in Sedona, Arizona. It is going to be at the Sedona Creative Life Center, the best venue in town. Very intimate venue. There's only about 180 seats available after, you know, the speakers and everything. And there's going to be conscious vendors, conscious healers, sound healers, dance party. One night is going to be a really conscious hip-hop artist that's a good friend of mine who sings songs about tonics and mushrooms and adrenochrome and all sorts of disclosure stuff. And then the next night is going to be a dance party that I'm going to be DJing with my friend Ryan, aka Love Sponge, and I'm pulling together all the meme songs. Nice, Joel. Yeah, so that's going to be dope. And ticket giveaway, you can enter that by either on Facebook or Instagram or both if you want to double enter for the ticket giveaway. And it's going to be good for 1 physical pass, in-person pass. And all you have to do is like the Instagram page and then share it in a post on your own page with the event flyer, which you can just screenshot. Should be on the page by now. If not, it's on my Instagram. I posted it right before this. And that Instagram is down in the comments, in the description below. And then Facebook is going to be the same thing. There's not an event page, or there's not a like page, but there is a group and an event. So if you join the group and then you give the group a tag shout out on Facebook with the flyer and, you know, whatever fun thing you want to say, you'll be entered to win that. And then we'll be choosing that winner sometime in the next week. And yeah. So that'll be fun, and we're really, like, the intent behind this is really to try to hopefully it goes to somebody that, I mean, it's going to be random the way we generate it, but I'm really hoping it goes to someone who maybe isn't able to afford the conference and is giving them the opportunity to come for free without having to, you know, pay. Because I know I've been in that situation before where I couldn't pay for conferences I really wanted to go to, so hopefully it goes to someone in that situation. And what else? I guess we'll move on to the next thing. Joel says, the screens in my dream were on the bridge of a ship, encrypted to my frequency. Yeah, you know, I was, at first I was feeling like it was black budget SSP related, but then when I was thinking about it, like, I didn't have any negative vibes. They were like very positive women. Like, they were just sitting there smiling and were just like emanating very good vibes. And then there was, later on, there was like a teacher, it felt like, who was a very large black woman. And by large, I mean very tall. And I've had dreams of these very tall beings before, being Indian beings, most likely, or Lyran beings, or things of that sort. And so it makes me wonder if it was that. Um, have you guys ever had dreams of like really tall beings like that? Like 7, 8 foot tall, and they're just like really beautiful looking, and they just shine their light, men and women alike. Trippy, trippy. Harry says, try mugwort under your pillow for recalling dreams. Okay, I will. I have heard mugwort drinking it for dreams, but under the pillow, I will try that out. Yeah, I have Cousin Havoc says, I have trouble remembering dreams. I have not been remembering my dreams for a very long time, until the night of the eclipse. And since then, they've been coming back. And they've all been these like memory or deeply symbolic type dreams. Vitamin B12 liquid drops before bed. Nice. Nice, nice. Cheshire says, burning mugwort before bed. Nice. Good tip. I will try that too. I've never smudged mugwort before. So, okay, we talked about Elon, we talked about, I don't know if I got back to the comment. Thoughts on DMT, says good vibrations. DMT, I haven't done DMT in a couple years now, at least in that kind of form. But back in like 2015, I was working really heavily with DMT. DMT was one of my first psychedelic experiences, and it was only a week after I tried LSD for the first time, which was my first psychedelic experience. This was back in college, so I had that kind of energy to just like dive in, the mental elasticity, you might say. And that really blew open my third eye, and that was the beginning of my awakening, which when I was in college for aerospace engineering, that is what ended up blowing open my third eye, to see that these black budget programs were real. And my teacher started talking about it in sly ways and showing us that these programs were real. But I was one of the only people who had the third eye to actually like see what was going on. A lot of my other friends weren't, most of them were not seeing it. And then I was remembering these technologies exist, and I was like, fuck, we're doing all these stupid ass calculations on rockets and rocket flow and orbital mechanics. I'm like, I know I've worked on personally anti-grav, electrogravitic technologies, not necessarily in this life as Jace, but I'm very familiar with these kind of technologies beyond this life. And so it was really frustrating, and that's why I inadvertently ended up dropping out like my 4th year, because it was killing me to have to do all these dumbass calculations for shit that I knew wasn't even necessary, when they're taking people to the moon in 2 minutes on these other craft, you know? And yet we're sending people to space on bombs, giant bombs. It just did not sit with me well. So yeah, DMT opened my mind to that stuff. And then that kind of whole next year or two, I was microdosing DMT a lot. I would like put a little bit of DMT on a joint, and I would use it to meditate. Not enough to like actually go into a trip, but just enough to open up my senses enough to kind of break out of the matrix thought form and into the natural energy patterns of life. And I would like sit in a hammock in this avocado tree in my backyard and have one of these DMT joints, and it was amazing. I did that on Mount Shasta too. Like had a light dose of DMT, which was amazing. Ended up finding like this amazing spring, and it was just so magical. But I haven't really done it that much since then. The past few years, it hasn't, the psychedelics haven't really been as much of a part of my life. And I kind of attribute that to being that the energies of the world right now are extremely psychedelic as is. And so personally, I haven't felt the call to do psychedelics recently, because life is so psychedelic as it is that I'm getting that natural dose of DMT most likely. And like the thought of doing mushrooms or DMT or especially LSD, because it's, you know, man-made, and most of the time DMT is synthesized in one form or another. Not always, you can get natural DMT, but a lot of the stuff is not necessarily totally pure in its vibration. Mushrooms are kind of the only, mushrooms and cannabis and the real plant medicines are the ones that I would work with if I worked with them again, because I don't want to get involved in necessarily, you know, research chemicals that they might have snuck in there like they do with LSD and things like that. But yeah, life is just so psychedelic enough as it is right now that I don't know. Do you guys feel the same way? I know some people are still engaging, and I give those people props, because I think it is still beneficial if you're feeling called to it. Like, I don't think it's doing people a disservice. But for me, consciousness is already pretty intense these days, you know? Mike says, the more I consciously go to sleep and ask to remember my dreams, the better. Nice. Yeah, that's a good, I've tried that too. That's a good method. Putting the intention to actually remember it before. LSD says, does DMT find you? I would say that if it is, if you're truly supposed to have it, then it will find you. I think most things in life are kind of that way. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't seek it out if you're feeling called to it, because sometimes having that male energy of doing the seeking when you feel called to something is a positive balance on the male energy side of things. Even as a female, you know, we all have female energies within us. That's something Alexis and I have been talking about a lot lately too, is the balance of male and female, and how these plant medicines, especially like cannabis, for us tend to bring us into the opposite. They bring us actually more to a 0 point, which is something that synchronistically I turned on an Elizabeth April video today, and she was exactly talking about that right when I pulled it up. But essentially the idea is that if you're a male, you probably tend to go into more of a receptive feminine state when you smoke cannabis, where as a female, you might find that you go into a more masculine state when you smoke cannabis. And not necessarily right in that moment, because it kind of brings everyone into a receptive state right in that moment. But, you know, throughout the day or throughout the weeks or the months or whatever, I feel like it kind of brings us to the neutral point. So if we're more masculine, it'll bring us more feminine neutral. If we're more feminine, it'll bring us more masculine neutral, which doesn't always align with the actual specific gender we were born as. Sometimes as males, we have more of a feminine energy divinely, and as females, we have more of a masculine energy divinely. And that's done, you know, we were created or born with that intent, I believe. But yeah, going back to, yeah, if things are, I think if things are, there's kind of the dual side of that with male and female, and as far as like receiving things, if they're meant for you, or seeking things, if you feel it from the heart, I think both are equally necessary, in finding a balance of the masculine in all areas of life, the masculine energies of creating and seeking and creating your timeline, controlling the timeline, as some might say, versus the receptive of completely allowing and not trying to create, but just receiving. I think that there is a divine balance within each of us of both of those concepts, and some of us may lean more towards one than the other. Cause and Havoc, hope I'm saying that right. It says, frequent dreams I remember having since I was 2, or been a year or 2 since I've had it, were ones where nothing is around me, almost like being in space, but no stars or any source of light. I can see myself clearly. That's really interesting. I haven't heard of anyone having that kind of experience, but it's like, I can picture it like being in the void. It's kind of like that pre-creation point, you know, the pure awareness, you know, before the awareness started creating the experience around it. Is it easy enough to extract your own DMT? I don't know. I mean, people definitely do it. I don't know how to do it, but I know that people do it, but I have no helpful things to say on that. It's like I can't remember to walk or run, and I'm panicking because I'm stuck in darkness and I'm trying to figure out how to stop standing in this dark space. Interesting. Maybe next time try just being in it and see if that takes away the panic. Like just being in that space, and if you can, you know, I know sometimes in dreams it's hard to even think because it's like just happening. Cheshire says, writing down key words of your dreams when you wake up helps to set a pattern for remembering them. Yes, I need to get better at that. I honestly should be keeping a dream journal of some sort, and I just haven't because it's probably just laziness, but it would probably help me a lot. Alan Watts, Pete brings up, yeah, I used to listen to Alan Watts a lot. Haven't really like connected with him or his material that much recently, but I used to listen to a lot of his lectures, especially back when I was doing LSD, because he had a lot of good lectures and things talking about psychedelics. Although I have heard on the flip side, I don't know if this is a projection from the dark, but I have heard some potentially negative things about Alan Watts. I personally don't know, not making any conclusions, but I've heard things about him potentially being abusive to his wife and things like that, but that could totally be made up and projected onto him to discredit him. Cheshire says cannabis has estrogen, which is a female hormone. I didn't know it actually had estrogen. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. Oh, Trump's birthday is tomorrow, says Angelito. Interesting. It's gonna be an interesting day. Oh, good vibration. You're saying it is easy enough to extract. Gotcha. Well, that's good. All right. What's next? Flare. Could talk a little bit about Flare and Flare Finance and XDC. And if you guys have any questions about that kind of stuff, feel free to drop them in the chat too. So basically it was announced yesterday, I believe it was yesterday before, that XDC would be added to the Flare Finance suite of decentralized apps, or dApps, being built on the Flare networks. So what does that mean? Okay, so first to kind of understand the difference between Flare networks and Flare Finance. So if you aren't familiar with crypto at all, just a quick catch up for the people that don't know what Flare is. Basically, this is a decentralized cryptocurrency network that is going to allow the common person like us to become our own banks, to become our own lenders, to become our own like everything that the banking establishment would typically do is going to be set up for us to do. And it's basically going to allow us to compete with the banking establishment and the banking cartels on a sovereign level, where we're not going to need them anymore. And this network is going to be huge. I mean, they've been amping it up for about a year now, maybe a little less than a year, 9-10 months or something. And it already has so much popularity. It already has so much traction. You know, you look at other cryptos that are already out and they're, you know, kind of struggling. Flare has so much support and it's not even released yet. So what Flare Networks is the overarching network. What Flare Networks is going to do is it's going to allow other cryptocurrency assets to be brought onto their network and be given essentially DeFi superpowers. So by DeFi, that stands for decentralized finance. And so what does that mean? That means that the coins that they've chosen, which we as the voters will be able to add more coins on later. These are just the coins they've started with pre-network launch. And then we as the voters of the network will be able to add more if we choose. But XRP XLM, Doge, and Litecoin. I think it's just those four. I don't think there's a fifth one. The Cardano was a potential, but it didn't end up making it before network launch. So XRP, XLM, Doge, Litecoin. That means that each of these four coins are going to have superpowers that they did not have by themselves. They're going to have decentralized finance capabilities, which means they will be able to do all sorts of decentralized work. And this can be literally anything. The scopes are limitless because this is a decentralized software that anyone can write on their own programs to. So there's already a real estate company writing decentralized real estate programs, which will run off of each of these assets, right? So like say XRP holders, we will be able, through the F asset version of XRP, FXRP, we will be able to do things like lend out our XRP or stake them on the network to make more money as a passive income. The passive income is a huge part of this. Mr. Pool, if you know who Mr. Pool is, similar to 17 and the kind of the drops that they do, Mr. Pool has talked about universal basic income becoming a thing. And I really think that the universal basic income that Pool is referring to is not one from the government, but one from Flare and similar decentralized finance groups, because they're going to allow us to have all sorts of passive income opportunities. So for one, Spark, which is the native asset of the Flare network, XRP holders who had XRP on 12/12/2020 will be receiving Spark very soon in the next month. Spark holders will essentially be able to act as their own agents, their own like brokerage and lending agents. So one thing you'll be able to do with Spark is you'll be able to vote on the direction of the network. So as a Spark holder, you vote on what happens with the Flare network. We can vote to add more assets. We can vote to change fee prices. We can vote to really do anything, add more programming, whatever. And you get paid for that. So imagine getting paid to be a part, imagine getting paid to vote for the president, right? Not in like a weird way where it's like a slimy incentive to go vote and they're going to cheat you, but as a divine exchange of energy for participating in a community. We are essentially going to become citizens of the Flare network. And this is kind of similar to like Xavier Hawk, who's going to be with Firon, who's going to be at the Family of Light gathering. Link is down below for that. The Xavier Hawk has pioneered his own crypto network called Firon, which has a very similar governance type idea. And in his words, it's created to steer spaceship Earth. So we're going to be seeing these different kinds of voting governance systems pop up with blockchain and cryptocurrencies throughout different groups that will be used to free us from the matrix. And you know, one easy example of that is blockchain-based voting with election systems, presidential election, Senate, whatever. If we switch over to a blockchain-based voting system, like Votes, VOATZ, which is being worked on at MIT, and XRP is involved in Votes in some way. I don't remember specifically how, if it's Ripple or if they're using XRP, but it's affiliated with Votes. And so if Votes, which was brought up in the Arizona AUDIT hearings and stuff, if Votes is implemented, it'll be a completely decentralized way to vote that they can't forge. They can't sabotage it, because the beauty of the blockchain is if it's a public blockchain ledger, everything is transparent. So this is really where, like, I know a lot of people, especially in the disclosure and the ascension and spiritual communities, are very hesitant of cryptocurrency because they only really know Bitcoin, and they think that Bitcoin is representative of all of crypto. That could not be further from the truth. I really don't like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, I don't hold any Bitcoin. I have like $10 of Bitcoin because someone sent it to me. But Bitcoin, as someone else said, if Bitcoin is representative of cryptocurrency, then count me out of cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin is an old, outdated technology. It was likely created by the intelligence agencies in America. Could be Black Hat, could have even been white hat with the intention to basically start this process. But as we know now, China owns the majority of Bitcoin. China has the majority of Bitcoin miners, which means they own the direction of the network. So technically, Bitcoin is less decentralized than XRP in the way that it is laid out. So really the driving point with that is for people who are new to crypto space, don't take Bitcoin as the representative for the whole cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is like the Napster of cryptocurrencies. If you remember Napster with music before Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff, Napster, they came up with this great idea, right? It was a good idea, music sharing, file sharing, but it was illegal. They did it wrong. And I know that some people might still resonate with the idea of like decentralized currency with no governments and that kind of stuff, but things are gonna have to have regulatory clarity. Like, it's just how it's gonna be. And I really do feel like the patriots are in control, and the American military is kind of running the show in the 3D side of things, not on the whole side of things, because clearly we're running the show too. But on the 3D side of things, Space Force and these various positive intelligence groups they're gonna need their own form of regulation and control over the space so as not to let black hats regain control. And as we've already seen, black hats have taken over the decentralized cryptocurrency of Bitcoin. So we need something that's actually going to be held up by the white hats. And that's where I really see regulatory clarity as being necessary. And we've talked about before too, how like I'm starting to feel that the Great Reset is the Great Awakening, in the sense that the light has co-opted what the Great Reset was going to be, and now they're rolling through with the same name, right? Because it helps with the psychology and the consciousness, and it helps it helps in a lot of ways. In the same way that they co-opted the virus, right? Like, I believe that if the dark really had their way, this virus really would have killed millions of people, right? But it didn't, because the light co-opted it, and it's 99.9 survival rate. And now the vaccines, which are run by the dark, have the higher death rate than the virus itself. So in that same respect, or saw anything about G7 and it was on the water, watch the water, the logo was water, I believe that's all going to tie in. And I think all those guys are puppets, and puppets in whatever way, clones, maybe even CGI a lot of times. But I really do feel that the light is in control in this whole situation, and we have nothing to fear at all. But specifically when it comes to the Great Reset and build back better and all that stuff, I really do believe the light is in control of that. So why did I go there? Oh, Flare. Yeah, we were talking about Flare. This is my Gemini mind. It just wanders. I'll check the chat real quick. Will there be another opportunity to get Spark? Yeah. So when the Flare network goes live, that's when you'll be able to buy Spark, like officially, like on an exchange. So like I believe Uphold is gonna support Spark, meaning you could probably buy it on Uphold. And yeah, just like XRP or any other coin, hypothetically, unless something crazy happens, institutional money pours in right away, which could happen. I feel that there will be a window for us as retail investors to get a large bag of Spark before institutional money comes in and really drives it up. But there is going to be huge incentive for people to not put their Spark on exchanges essentially for sale for other people, right? Because you're buying it from the exchanges, meaning you're buying it from people that are selling it. You're not buying it from Flare as like a group, right? You're buying it. The coins are out in the open market. All the coins will be in distribution. There will be more minted later, but all the coins that exist now will be in distribution when the network goes live and they do that airdrop to XRP holders. And then those who want to sell their Spark You know, there will probably be a good amount of people who do not realize the value of what Spark is and what it's going to be. And, you know, just on that note, there's those 17 posts about Spark and how we needed a, quote, Spark worldwide to reignite the engine. I really do believe it's talking about the Spark token and Flare networks. Flare, Solar, Flare 2, like all the synchronicities. So you'll be able to buy Spark when it goes live. And but there's going to be incentive to immediately stake it and make passive income on the Flare network. So if people like us were knowledgeable about what's going to happen, we know that the highest return of an, or sorry, not return, the highest rewards, network rewards will be given in the beginning because it's relative to how many people are on the network. So there's X amount of Spark in these liquidity pools that will be given out, or you know, there's different tokens that they're giving out as rewards. Some are F asset tokens like FXRP. Some are rewarding you with more Spark depending on what you're doing. But there's going to be incentive to essentially, as soon as we get our Spark airdrop, to immediately put it on the Flare network, immediately stake it in either the governance system or the FTSO Oracle delegating your vote as a data provider, right? So there's 3 different ways that you can make passive income at the same time with your Spark token. It's the governance votes, the network service provider, and then I believe the staking your Spark as collateral for the FSET minting system. And that's where we are our own agents, right? So I believe you can do all 3 of those at the same time without having to choose one over the others. And so those rewards will be highest in the very beginning. And so those of us that know that are going to want to put that there and get those rewards. And, you know, and since they've been hyping this network up for many, many months now, I kind of feel like the majority of XRP holders do know that that is where they want to put their Spark rather than selling it right away. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if, you know, the price goes up right away, or if there's like an up and then a big sell-off before, you know, going back up. But either way, I'm getting the feeling we will have an opportunity to get some at a reasonable price. Greg says, who can I learn about? I definitely recommend my buddy Zen God, Zach, on Zen God YouTube channel. He is, almost his whole channel is dedicated to enlightening people about crypto and the conscious side of it. So definitely recommend him. If you want a more technical analysis side of things, the Blockchain Backer YouTube channel. He does XRP and other chart analysis. So he's very much on the, you know, left brain mathematical chart analysis side of things, but it's really, really good info. Helps you understand how the markets work. And then, let's see. Moon Lambo is a funny channel that talks about a lot of the news and the hype around what's going on with XRP. And Brad Kimes, I forget what his YouTube channel is called. Brad Kimes, I think Digital Perspectives, I think is what it's called. He also has a great YouTube channel. Good places to start. But if you want to learn more about like just the pure basics of blockchain and crypto, then maybe look up just like, how does the blockchain work? And there's a lot of great videos that explain the mechanics of it. And it really takes away from like the intimidation of like, you know, Bitcoin and thinking Bitcoin is everything, and the mining and all that stuff, because mining and all that stuff, that's all the old tech, right? That's Bitcoin proof of work tech. XRP doesn't use mining. Flare doesn't use mining. Things have advanced. Yeah, Ambi, thank you, Ambi, for pointing out. I have a couple videos about crypto on my channel as well, a couple basic ones, but definitely recommend Zen God for more like in-depth stuff. Yeah, thank you so much, Ambi, for posting those links. It is hot out today, guys. It's a hot day in Sedona. QFS must be up and running, says Joel. I'm getting the feeling that Alexis and I were talking about that yesterday. Like, with this, the fact too that Pool posted the eclipse, I was like, ooh, something big is happening. Like the I don't want to say the WH, the light. I believe that they took advantage of that solar eclipse, much like we did for these financial resets in the QFS and that kind of stuff. And Alexis and I were feeling yesterday that something did go live, something did happen. Will we be able to buy Spark on the Flare network? So Flare network doesn't have their own like exchange or anything. You'll be able to buy Spark through supporting third-party exchanges that are offering it, like Uphold will probably, and Bitrue will, and then you might be able to buy it on the Flare Finance, which this is what I was gonna get into as well, the difference between Flare Finance and Flare Networks. Flare Finance, totally separate group of people, at least that's what they're saying. It's run by Anons, created by Anons. They're completely anonymous people. They're very likely prominent people within the financial industry, maybe people that we would know by name. And they have like their own exchange called Flare X, which you'll probably be able to buy Spark on Flare X. I'm like 99% sure you can. And they have the Flare yield farming on Flare Finance, which allows you to have all sorts of other passive income opportunities. Like you can essentially, with DeFi in general, yield farming is the ability to stake your cryptocurrency and receive return of investment. And what's really cool about Flare Finance's yield farming is that you don't even have to invest in a cryptocurrency. You can actually stake US dollars in a liquidity pool and earn interest on that, which is likely going to be much higher than putting that same dollar amount in a savings account or a mutual fund even. Especially in the beginning, it's going to be really high. And I've messed around with this on their betas. I've seen how it works, and like in the beta at least, you know, they gave us $1,000 and $1,000 of play money. This was fake money. Gave us $1,000 of fake money, and I did better than most people on that part of the beta, but I was able to turn 1,000 into like roughly 8,000 in like a week and a half or so. So don't necessarily take that as literally how it's going to be, because there were small amounts of people on the beta, so I don't know how that's going to scale, but you know, there is the opportunity to significantly multiply your investments with the Flare yield farming and Flare in general. So on that note, Flare Finance and XDC have now partnered. Now XDC, I haven't talked about that too much on this channel, but I've talked about it with Zach on Zen God and on the roundtables. And XDC is I would say a similar project to XRP and XLM. XDC is kind of like the baby brother of XRP in a way. Smaller network, but the potential to be really big as well. And it has certain abilities, like it has DeFi built into it, versus XRP, which doesn't. And so while XDC is not yet an official F asset on the Flare networks, Flare Finance, which again is a separate group of it's a decentralized application, set of applications being built on the Flare networks. Flare Finance is incorporating XDC in all of their products. So that means you'll be able to buy XDC on their FlareX exchange. You'll likely be able to stake it in some form on the yield farming and everything else that might come along with that I'm not totally familiar with yet. But just to kind of make that clarity that XDC is not an F asset. It's not in the same league as XRP, Doge, XLM, and Litecoin in the DeFi superpowers, but we can add it later as members of the Flare network. We can vote to make XDC an F asset, which I have a lot of questions about myself, because as a DeFi network on its own, XDC. I wonder how that would work being brought onto the DeFi of Flare. And they're different kinds of DeFi. Even though they're both DeFi, XDC's DeFi is proof of stake based. It's based off of like Ethereum, like, you know, that kind of system. And Flare is not proof of stake based DeFi. It is the first Turing, they call it Turing complete federated Byzantine agreement network. And so what that means is it's essentially, so the federated Byzantine agreement, FBA, is what XRP is, and they created that. And it's essentially an alternative to proof of work and proof of stake that makes the network vastly superior technologically in the way that it communicates. You don't need mining, you don't need computer algorithms to verify the network, and you also don't need people staking their coins onto the network to validate the network, which is a big problem with Ethereum. You know, the people that choose the Ethereum fees are the miners. And so Ethereum is supposed to be moving over to a proof of stake network, but it's still not going to be as advanced as the FBA based, which is essentially cloud distributed ledger based, where everybody on the network confirms the transaction with each other. Significantly less energy, like it's like 15,000 times greener than Bitcoin. Pretty sure that was the stat, 15,000. So it'll be interesting if XDC does become an F asset to see what the best of both worlds of the proof of stake DeFi with the FBA DeFi, and seeing how those interact with each other. But maybe that'll never happen because of that reason. Okay, good question from Neo. He says, do you think the 5% fee you have to pay for FXRP will be earned back fast? I personally feel like it will be. And don't take my word for it. Obviously, I don't know any more than anyone else does. But I believe, I mean, it only makes sense that that's how they would set it up to be. And knowing the kinds of gains and returns that I got through the Flare Finance beta, you know, it was like multiple hundreds of percentages of the original investment. So 5%, I personally feel like it's going to be able to make that up really fast. And I've been prepping for that with my XRP as well, knowing that I'm going to be minting it and that 5% is going to be going to, well, Spark holders. So that's another bonus, is that if you hold Spark, you're inadvertently kind of paying yourself, right? The only bummer is that you can't use your own Spark as collateral to do the minting, but maybe that'll come in the future, because that would be pretty sweet, and then we wouldn't have to pay the fee. But as a Spark holder, you're getting the fees if you're offering your Spark up as collateral. So if you're minting, you're kind of paying yourself back in a way as well. So there's that side of it too. And yeah, I think unless I am presented with large amounts of information that convince me that I shouldn't mint my XRP into FXRP, I'm likely going to mint the majority of it as soon as I can. And yeah, if anyone has any information on why maybe not to mint all of your XRP or your XLM or Doge or whatever into the F asset, I would love to hear that perspective, because I've been trying to see if there's a reason you wouldn't, but so far it doesn't seem there is. It really seems like the first people that are able to mint are going to get the most rewards. At least that's my understanding. Oh yeah, Extravod. Is that how you say it? That's a good YouTube channel. He's kind of hard to understand sometimes, but I appreciate his energy. Oh yeah, Bearable Bull. That's a good one. Bearable Bull, super enthusiastic. He's definitely like the hype XRP YouTube page if you just want to like get hyped, and the music is always fun. He's the reason that I got that Astronaut in the Ocean song stuck in my head for like weeks. What's the difference with FXRP and XRP? Okay, good question. So For XRP, XLM, Doge, and Litecoin, it's only for those four right now. They are eligible to be transitioned into F assets. So you can trade in your XRP and receive FXRP in return. It's a different coin, but it's 1-to-1, right? So the FXRP will give the XRP the DeFi capabilities that the Flare network is offering. So it'll allow for smart contracts, which smart contracts are essentially how DeFi operates. Smart contracts is how you take out the middlemen, how you take out the brokers and the exchanges. It's a set of code that allows the transaction to have a more complicated exchange or contract than just sending A to B. So with XRP, I can just send you XRP to you. I can't say loan it natively, or I can't do like insurance with it natively or things like that, or make like paid out, in a very simple scenario, I guess, like paid out amounts over time. Whereas with FXRP, it'll have all these abilities and limitless that people can continue to code on with these smart contracts, allowing you to do all sorts of amazing things. And then at any point you want, if there's a reason to, you can swap it back into XRP. Sorry, I'm a little behind on the comments, you guys. Yeah, Zen God, Z-E-N. Thank you, Ambi. You're the best. Oh yes, Good Vibrations pointed out that Spark IOUs can be bought now on BitTrue. It's kind of a gamble as far as the price goes. We don't know if it will be more or less at the time of launch. Yes, so BitTrue as well as Poloniex. I opted to buy the Poloniex IOU of Spark, which you need a VPN for. You can do it in the Brave browser native VPN, which is nice. You don't have to pay for it. But that IOU is cheaper because it's a different contract. So with BitTrue, you're getting 1-to-1 with all the, like, whatever you buy as far as your Spark IOU on BitTrue, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that 1-to-1 when Spark releases. So if you have 1,000 Spark on your BitTrue, Spark IOU, FLR, they're gonna give you 1,000 Spark when the network launches. With Poloniex, you're only getting 15% of the total. And that's because when Spark launches, they're only actually giving us 15% of the total amount. So say you're getting 1,000 Spark airdrop to you because you had 1,000 XRP, hypothetically, you're only gonna get 15% of that 1,000 Spark when the network drops, and then the rest will be paid out over the next few years. It's like 3 to 4% every month. So there's passive income within itself too. I believe that, of course it's done on purpose, but I believe that is done partially to prevent people from dumping, but also because I think by that time that 3 or 4 years is by, Spark is going to be worth a lot, and it's going to be a really good passive income. So on Poloniex, it's a cheaper price. It's like 30 something cents on there right now versus the, like, I don't know what BitTrue is at now, like $1 or something. Yeah, you guys would have to go check the IOU prices. I think last I checked, Spark on Poloniex, which is Poloniex, Poloniex, which their logo is an X too, which is kind of a good synchro. That one was like 30 something cents. BitTrue was like $1. So I found the Poloniex one to be more in resonance with what I thought was good. But if you want the majority of your Spark when the network launches, then the BitTrue might be better. But again, we don't know. We don't know if it's a better deal now or when it launches. Like, when it launches, because it's spread out across more exchanges, this potential Spark is going to be like 10 cents. But it could also be like $1. So we really don't know. All right, later, Mike. Thanks for joining. Oh, Joyful says, where will you be minting your XRP? Uphold, for example, or upload. I don't know if you mean uphold, but no, you won't mint it on any private exchanges like Uphold or Coinbase. You'll do it through the Flare Network's website, most likely is how it'll work. So like Flare Networks will have some kind of portal that you will do the minting process through natively on their network. But we don't know how it's going to work yet. I love you too, Alexis. When will Spark token be released to buy? It's could be any day now, could be today, could be a month from now. They most recently they said it was going to be late June, early July is their best guess, but they keep pushing it back. So it was supposed to come out in like April, and then they pushed it back, and I believe it's because they're waiting for the QFS or something like that to officially go. They're waiting for the green light, you know? So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but now that that deadline is passed where you can register your ledger or your private wallet for the airdrop, now that that's passed, it could be any day now. Do I think XRP will hit double digits anytime soon? I don't want to make predictions, but I do feel like it is coming. I don't know when soon is, but yes, I think it will be soon. I mean, the next kind of price target after we break all-time highs, which is $3.80-ish, the next average price target I've seen is like $10 to $13, and then potentially like $20 after that. Closed the YouTube, there we go. Spark a blunt token weed. I like that. Okay, Miguel says, or sorry, I already read Miguel's. Andy says, can you explain what minting is? So minting is the process that you will do with the Flare networks of giving your XRP and receiving FXRP. They call that process minting. And they're technically different coins, but they are pegged to each other in my understanding, so the price should always be the same. And like I said, the FXRP will allow you to do more things with your XRP, like decentralized finance, smart contract opportunities. And so yeah, just that process of, you can look this up too. You can look up Flare F asset minting. And there's a great YouTube channel, I forgot to mention, in particular talks about, it's freaking fly. Mickey B. Fresh talks about Flare, and Flare in particular, Flare Networks, Flare Finance, that's like his specialty. And then another guy is on his channel named Patty XRP, which is a guy that I kind of know from like Telegram group chats and stuff. And he's really cool, really knowledgeable guy. So yeah, Patty XRP and Mickey B. Fresh on the Mickey B. Fresh YouTube channel. They go over all the details with minting and the reward systems and F assets and all that stuff. It's really a great source. Flare community, thank you, King Pi DD. Flare community is also a great page for more simple, straightforward Flare news and updates and explanations. I've been following him from the early parts of his channel too, and I think it was just his birthday yesterday. Wished him happy birthday. Mr. T says, what do you think about Mr. Poole's post about showing something mooning or going straight up? Yeah, that was pretty sweet. Someone was like, is this supposed to be mirrored in my Telegram group? And I was like, oh, I hope it's not supposed to be mirrored. I don't think it is. I do think that is an indication. I mean, so Poole posted all those pictures of money being printed, all the dollars. So that could go one of two ways. That could be like a ton of money coming in, right? Like the, chart's going up. that's what we're receiving, or it could have been symbolic of them printing more money, and maybe the dollar starting to decline in value because they're continuing to print more money. It's not King Pie, DD. King Paid. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's because we're getting paid. Yeah, so yeah, Mr. T, I thought I liked that post. I think it is promising, and my fingers are crossed for a magical event happening in the near future. My birds are like going crazy inside. Yeah, the Flare Discord is nuts. You talking about the Flare Finance one, Angelito? Yeah, that is they got a lot going on in there. There's a lot of great like systems that they're doing in there. They've got this whole like membership, samurai initiation, like it's like they got their own secret society basically that they're creating in the Flare Discord in a positive way. PAC protocol. I honestly don't really know anything about PAC, but I've heard good things about it, but I'm not really familiar with it. It's not a part of Flare, at least not yet. I'll have to look into PAC more because I've been hearing more about it. Ambi says, I saw something maybe on Beach Broadcast about a new gold-backed dollar being printed. Ooh, I saw people talking about the pool post with the dollars and saying that it looked to them like it was a gold-backed dollar, like in the photo. And so that's an interesting synchro. That's pretty cool. Maybe that's what we're getting soon. I mean, I saw an article yesterday in like Politico that was talking about the digitization of the US dollar, which, you know, they call them central banking digital currencies. And that's, you know, the highest likelihood, in my opinion, is that the United States central banking digital currency is going to be built on the XRP ledger. And so, of course, that would be really good for XRP holders. And I know there's like a lot of fear around the idea of going to a digital currency or going without cash. And I don't believe that's where we're going. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, which, you know, has XRP, said himself that he doesn't see cash going anywhere in the next 5 years, as far as like cash is around to stay. So the way I see it, as Trump pointed out, Bitcoin, you know, Trump commented on Bitcoin lately, Bitcoin is a threat to the US dollar. It's a competing currency. On the other hand, XRP would help the US dollar. It would enable the US dollar. Now, it doesn't have to, like XRP's purpose isn't to help the US dollar, but XRP would help any currency that it is involved with. So if, say, the United States decides to make their central banking digital currency on the XRP ledger, then that would mean that they now have the superpowers of XRP in the speed and liquidity of being able to send your assets anywhere in the world in 2 to 4 seconds. And the kind of scenario that I always kind of go back to as a simple explanation for people is like, imagine banks are no longer central banking dynasties, but they actually are reserves, as they were intended to be, banking reserves for the people. So you go to your, say you have a gold bar and you want to send it to your friend in the UK. So you go to your Bank of America, who is already signed on to the Ripple network. They're already a member of that, just about when the switch turns on. You go to your Bank of America, you give them your bar of gold, and you say, I want to send this to Joe Schmo in the UK. And so, okay, they take your bar of gold, they convert the gold into digital gold, and then digital gold into XRP. Then they send the XRP to Joe Schmo's bank in the UK. In the UK, they liquidate the XRP back into gold, and within a few minutes, your friend in the UK has a bar of gold in his hands that you just sent him. So that is how this kind of crypto digital currency will enable the physical currency and will help it. Now, of course, on the dark timeline, they didn't want that. That's why Facebook was trying to make their one coin to rule them all Libra token, which would have been everything. And that's the dark side of the digital currency. And as Mike Pompeo did a roundtable with Peter Thiel and some others recently at I think it was called the Nixon seminar. And they talked about the difference between, say, China's digital dollar and a cryptocurrency, and how they are different, and how China's digital dollar is not a cryptocurrency, it's just a digital yuan. So they have full surveillance, full control over everything. Now, the beauty of, they were alluding to the United States developing their central banking digital currency, is that it's not just a digital dollar. It's not just like, okay, the US Fed gets to decide that now all the dollars are digital and, you know, they get to see everything and control it. No, now it's like we have a secure quantum financial system based around real digital, secure digital assets, because we're already on a digital system, right? Like your money in the bank, that's not real, right? Most of the time, the banks don't even have the reserves for that money. You couldn't even, everyone couldn't liquidate their accounts, basically, right, at the same time. So the beauty is going to this new quantum system, where we're taking the old system, which was already digital, right? They just are making it look like it's not digital, but we've already been on the digital fake dollar for a while, where your bank account is just strings of ones and zeros that are entered in the system, and if someone hacks it, they could change that. Now we're going to a secure quantum financial system that will empower the dollar, that will empower the various currencies around the planet, that will empower gold and silver and give them quantum capabilities. And that is what I call the QFS. I know QFS gets tossed around in a lot of different groups, and some people like it, some people don't like it. Sometimes it's a trigger word for people. I honestly don't really know what most of those other people are saying, like Charlie Ward. I've never seen a Charlie Ward video, but people are constantly telling me he talks about QFS. I don't know what he's talking about, but what I'm calling the QFS is this. It's like the tangible systems that are already being implemented, what Ripple is creating with RippleNet and XRP and these very central banking digital currencies, and really like the difference between what China's doing and what we're doing. It's a very different kind of digital currency. Joyful says, can you talk a little bit about Nasara and how it relates to Flare Finance launch? So to me, Nasara is more of a symbolic thing. I'm not sure if anything will ever actually be called Nasara. Like, you know, obviously it was already called Nasara, what they created in the 90s. But I don't know if that name is ever going to come back. So when I say Nasara, I generally am just kind of referring to the energy of the quantum reset. And I think that there are many ways that that's going to play out. Everything that I just explained with being able to send gold quantumly and how those systems, that's all how I picture it. But also there's going to be other ways that money will be returned to the people that will have the Nasara energy. And one of the ways that I've seen that potentially playing out recently is Trump calling for Chinese reparations in the form of $10 trillion or more to the world for COVID. So can you imagine that if we get to the bottom of this thing officially and China actually has to pay $10 trillion to the world, that could be one form of Nasara, right? Or Jasara. Another form is going to be like through, I know you asked specifically about Flare Finance. So like it will enable us to step away from the central banking dynasties. It will enable us to be our own banks, to do our own lending, to have our own private network of citizens where we are our own financial institutions and we're sovereign financially. And you can get a loan from Flare Finance, for instance, without having to be approved by a bank. You could get a loan just because you're you and you deserve a loan. Who cares about your credit history? Who cares about all that shit that the bank tried to pin on us to make the classist system that we have right now? So it's going to free us from that. And that will open the doors to many forms of economic opportunity and prosperity to come through within our lifetimes and hopefully within the next couple years. Hey, Amy. Good to see you, Amy. Why is El Salvador a country that wants to use Bitcoin? Is that part of the manipulation? It could be. I've heard about that, but I have not looked too much into like the politics and the energy behind it. But I'm not worried about it on the grand scheme of things. I think them accepting Bitcoin is ultimately a step in the right direction, even if, you know, we realize that Bitcoin isn't what all the Bitcoin maxis want it to be. And I do think there's a good chance that Bitcoin is going to stay around. And again, the technology is neutral. It's just it's controlled majorly by the bad people, it looks right now, by communist, you know, China. So I think even Brad Garlinghouse has said that he doesn't really see Bitcoin going anywhere as far as a storage of value. It might continue to be a solid store of value for people, but there's going to be a whole ecosystem of cryptocurrencies, right? And it's the dark wants there to be one to rule them all, one coin for everyone, one coin for the planet. XRP only really works if there's a whole ecosystem of currencies, and that's, I think, you know, that's kind of analogous to like states' rights over federal government control over the states, and having each state having their own currencies or their own laws, and being able to see what works on smaller scales and mass scales and things like that. And I think that there will be far less cryptocurrencies than there are right now. As many have said, 99% of cryptos will go away, but there will still be many for many different applications and purposes because they have different technologies behind them. Yeah, Joyful says, have you heard about our birth certificates being sold from 1871 and 2000 and currently being returned to the people? Like this, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard as much about it currently being returned to the people as far as specifics, but I have heard a lot about like the straw man accounts and the idea that we were listed as being maritime, like born at sea, we're people of the sea, we're not actually citizens of the land, and how they, since World War II, they essentially created these accounts, these bank accounts for people in our names when we were born, and have been accruing interest since we were born. And that people, back when they started figuring this out, people were like tapping into these accounts and buying like sports cars and stuff because they figured out how to get into these accounts. And people were saying that there were millions, if not billions of dollars in these accounts. So that could be another way that the Nasara Jassara QFS type situation works out. I think that there's going to be quite a bit of different things that come through, but I don't see it as being like one event, like here's Jassara for everyone. I think it's going to be like a bunch of ways, and some people might benefit more from one way and some people might benefit more from the other way, but either way, like energetically, it will be returned to the people in one form or another. What's my take on Algorand? Algorand's awesome. I don't actually own any, but I kind of wish I did. At this point, I'm like, kind of would rather put my money in XRP. But I think Algorand's great. I think it's going to be one of the coins that makes it. It's on the ISO 2022 protocol, Interledger protocol. The current SEC head has said that Uber could be built on Algorand, and many other companies, networks as well. So I think Algorand is going to stick around and be a good, solid investment. I probably will pick some up. I should, honestly. Quant, I also want to get some of as well that I haven't got yet. Oh, they say you can look up how much you're worth using the red number at the top or bottom. My birth certificate doesn't have a number. Interesting. I don't know if mine does either. Are you surprised that Shiba made the cut for Flare? Yeah, so to clarify for that, that's Flare Finance, not Flare Network. So it's not an F asset, but it's basically what XDC is becoming. Flare Finance is bringing it on. So that's pretty cool. I do have some Sheeb. I bought Sheeb and a couple other of the meme coins, the dog, like Akita, like right before they went up a bunch, but then when we had the big crash, then they came down a ton. But I'm still holding them because, especially after seeing that, I'm like, oh, maybe it is gonna actually stick around. They added that though because people in the Flare Finance Discord voted to have that. So in the Discord, they were basically like, hey, here's a bunch of coins. What's your favorite meme coin you want us to add? What's your favorite utility coin? What's your favorite this coin? And for meme coin, they voted for sheep. So I think it's a good sign. Do not access those accounts. It is a felony, but yeah, they did that for sure. Yeah, I've heard similar now. So they made it a felony to access those. I got to look more into that. I know someone who like bought an iPad with theirs, and then she was locked out, and then she's like, oh, I wish I bought a car instead of an iPad. All right, y'all. Did we hit everything? We talked about, yeah, I think we talked about mostly everything. Well, any last minute questions or topics you guys want to hit? Family of Light, thank you, Ambi, for reminding me. So the Family of Light conference here in Sedona, we're doing a ticket giveaway, and that's going to be Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, if you like the Family of Light Instagram page, which is down below, and you share it and tag us in it on Instagram if you share the flyer, and then same on Facebook, share the flyer, and which is on Instagram. You just take a screenshot and tag us in it and join the group, and then you will be eligible to win a free ticket. And if you already bought a ticket, or you want to buy one, but say you want to buy one, but you're like, oh, maybe I should wait, I would say just buy it now, because we actually really do need the funds to pay the venue this week. And I'm really calling upon people to, anyone who's been thinking of coming or like knows they're going to come but has been waiting, really now is the time, because I got to pay the venue soon. And so if you win the competition, we'll just refund you, and that's how that'll work. So again, Instagram, Facebook, you can do both and have a double entry. And then, yeah, if you guys could just share the event, it's going to be so amazing. We're going to have Kate Awakening, Journey to Truth, 1 Foot in 5D, Alara, Sexual Kung Fu, Rion and Alexander here in Sedona, Troy Casey, Certified Health Nut, Zen God, Xavier Hawk, Ben Steezy and Love Sponge as music, and who else am I forgetting? I know, it's so hard to go through the list of people. I always feel bad if I forget someone. But yeah, link in the description down below for that. And if you pay with cryptocurrency, there's a big discount available. And if you can't make it out, then there's a live stream too at a really affordable price, also with a crypto discount. So yes, really excited for that. Sedona is ready. The beings here are ready. It's going to be an amazing gathering of like-minded souls and energy, and we're really excited to like create this as our first conference, because we've worked many conferences before. We've done our rounds for years, kind of studying and apprenticing, and we've really figured out what we like and what we don't like about these kind of gatherings. And so well, just to explain a little more, one of the things we're going to do is, for all the vendors involved, there's going to be vendor-specific times, because we really value having mingling time and not just cramming everything too close together. So for a couple hours out of the day, spaced out around lunchtime and in the morning and evenings, there will be specific time dedicated to connecting with people and talking and checking out the live art and the vendors, getting healing. And then the people that I've signed on to be vendors and healers, which we're still taking spots. I think this week is going to be the last week that we take people, because I have to finalize things with the venue financially this week, and I have to know the exact space. So if you're interested in being a vendor, it's basically just the exact same price as a ticket, but you get to have your own spot there and sell your products or do your healing. And everyone that's a vendor has all the time to see all the speakers. So it's laid out so that the vendors are equally as much a part of being involved in the conference. So you don't have to worry about like getting someone to watch your table while you go watch the speaker or you want, because I've been in that situation too as a vendor and as, you know, a healer and musician and stuff at events, like not being able to see people I want to see because I'm working. So that we really valued, and we thought it was really important, and that way everyone can be gathered in the same spaces together and we don't have to split the energy, which I think is really important. So yeah, super excited for that. familyoflight.info down below. Please share it, please talk about it with your friends and family, and yeah, if you want to be involved as an artist or a healer or a vendor, just reach out to me. The email is familyoflightgathering@gmail.com. Gosh, now I'm forgetting the exact email, but it's on the website. You can just go to familyoflight.info and send us a message through the website there. Journey to Truth, that's who I forgot. Journey to Truth is going to be there too. I forgot to mention them. So yeah. And thank you to all the mods. Thank you, Ambi, especially. You're great. And I got to add some more mods too. If anyone wants to be a mod on here, just reach out to me. I don't want to just make anyone a mod if you don't want to be, but if you want to be a mod for the channel, just send me a message or something. Thank you, Angelito, as well, for being a mod. And thanks to everyone who's here. Much love, and go check out the stuff on Instagram. The link's down below, the website. And I hope to see you at the Family of Light gathering. It's coming up pretty soon, just a little bit over a month. So yeah, much love to you all, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Peace out, guys.